And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on the Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're watching. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, retweet. You know the drill. Wherever it is, just hit those buttons to help share this show out, to help grow the algorithm, to help get more people interact with the show as we break down this week's Valspar Championship and recap the Players' Championship from last week, a little tournament that happened last week. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, at Bearded Knowledge, as always, and sitting next to me, as always, is Jason Sullivan, at jsully2121. Jason, good evening. How you doing tonight?
Doing good, buddy. Yeah, like you said, just a little tournament last week. Just by far the best tournament we've seen all season.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really entertaining Players' Championship. Scottie Scheffler winning it. I'm shocked, honestly. No, I'm not. I shouldn't say I'm shocked that Scottie Scheffler won a tournament because that sounds kind of silly. But I was kind of shocked that he was able to pull it off because it is so hard to win the Players' Championship multiple times, let alone back to back like Scottie Scheffler. And we started last week's show off saying, "Has Scottie Scheffler learned to putt? Watch out!" He learned how to putt, and now he has won 2 events in a row. Scottie Scheffler's the course horse for every event he tees up now with that new mallet putter, right?
He's almost like I don't want to say free square because he's going to be $12,000 every week, but you got to play him. You can't not play him. He's too good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy you have to have in every lineup. You might as well just bet him every event the rest of the year because if he's playing like he did last week, he's probably going to win. How many times can he realistically win the rest of the year?
A lot. It depends on if he plays like this.
I mean, that's a very analytical answer there. A lot,
a lot.
But no, it's serious, right?
You know what's funny too is I didn't tell you this, but on Saturday he started to play. He started to like make a little push. He started off I think 3 pars in a row, and then he made a little push, and he was 28-1. And I'm like, oh my god, I should bet that. And I'm like, nah, he's not. Nobody's ever won back to back. No one. He's not going to win. So I didn't bet it. I'm kicking myself now.
And 20, that's what I was looking for. I was busy this weekend and I missed that. And if I would have seen that, I might have been the same as you and said no, but
I think he was like 8 shots back at the time. So it wasn't like it was like a slam dunk, but
also with last week's event, the other two, well, there's 3 names at the top of the leaderboard with him on Sunday. Wyndham Clark, Brian Harman, and Xander Schauffele. We were definitely wrong on Wyndham Clark, in my opinion. We talked about how he might not be able to live up to the 2023, his major championship and whatnot. I've been paying close attention to him this year. I don't like him. Like, he seems to rub me the wrong way, but the guy's proven me wrong, and he's actually rounding into a very consistently elite golfer right there in the sense with a Xander or a Finau or all the other guys that are in that number 2 through 10 range because no one's on the Scottie level. I felt for Wyndham, missing that putt on 18. I mean, I know it hurt you more than it hurt me.
Yeah. I had the old 50-1 bet on Wyndham, so that really hurt. I mean,
you ever see that gif of like a putter, the ball falls in, then pops out, and the middle finger comes out of the cup? That's how I feel like you probably felt on Sunday afternoon.
It hurt. That kind of segues into my question that I was going to ask you. I told you I had a question for you pre-show. Okay, Scottie's in a class of his own. We both agree with that, right? When it comes to a closer, when it comes to the best player on tour, Scottie, hands down, no argument from either one of us. Outside of Scottie, if you have a big event, I'm not even saying a major, it could be just like an elevated event or a major, and Wyndham Clark is in contention, is there anybody else besides Scottie that you feel more confident in than Wyndham? Because I think my answer is no.
Man, I mean, it depends on the course and stuff like that, but
of course, but
is Wyndham the second? Is he the second best golfer on tour right now?
On the PGA Tour,
on the PGA Tour.
I don't think you can argue it. I mean, what does he have? So he's won a major and 2 elevated events in the past 9 months, 10 months.
Yeah.
He probably should have won the other day. Like,
I want to take a look at the official golf world rankings. I want to see where he's up to now with this latest run. I wasn't prepared for this. He is now the 4th ranked golfer in the world. Third, and one of those ahead of him is Jon Rahm, who is not on tour, obviously, anymore. So on the PGA Tour, he's the third highest ranked golfer in the world. But would you take Wyndham Clark over Rory right now in a big event?
Yep. Would you?
Right now, yeah, absolutely. Even with all that went on with the first episode of Full Swing and kind of getting that feeling, from Rory and all, I want to cheer for him. I mean, got to think that he's the best. There's second
I
best
mean,
there is.
I think he's definitely better than Xander. Obviously, show
Yeah.
that again.
Do you
Xander,
know Xander now has 13 runner-ups?
I heard that.
Like,
That's
do you
insane.
imagine finishing in second place that many times in your career, being that bad of a closer?
It's almost like, remember we used to joke about Finau back in the day?
Yeah, he
It's
used to
kinda
be fifth place Finau.
Yeah, well, second place Xander.
Yeah,
Like top 5 Xander, which is great. I mean, don't get me
yeah.
wrong, that's great, but no, I would put Clark ahead of him. I'd put him ahead of Cantlay.
I'm just looking at the top, 15 golfers in the world right now. It's Scottie 1, then it's Rory, Rahm, Wyndham. Xander's 5th. Hovland has had a down year. He's actually dropped a couple places. Patrick Cantlay can't close. Brian Harmon,
No.
not exciting, but Oberg or whatever is. And then
Yeah.
Homa rounds out the top
Yeah.
10.
I think it's a no. I think he's definitely the second best golfer on the tour right now. That's insane.
I
Maybe I
mean,
could argue Hovland, but like you said,
Hideki is
Hovland,
making a big charge. He started the year at 46. He's up to 12th in the World Cup rankings.
he's playing good
Maybe we'll
golf.
get him back to close to form.
Yep.
But I'm going through this. I mean, there's nobody else I would take over Wyndham Clark
Especially in a big
in a
event.
big moment
Yeah.
than Scottie Scheffler or after Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was thinking that on Saturday, and I was gonna text you and say that, and then I'm like, wait, I'm gonna save it until the show.
Man, that's
Talk about it.
that's yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what you could do. And then obviously you've got this week Xander Schauffele in the field, and I know one of the questions circling around is can you trust somebody like Xander or Brian Harmon this week after the emotional letdown of the final 5 or 6 holes on Sunday, the Players Championship? Is there ever a golfer that has an emotional is there such thing as a hangover from golfers?
I think there is. I mean, especially
There,
when you're
there
talking
definitely is when you win your first event,
right.
but the disappointment. I mean, there's got to be. I actually honestly expected Xander and or Harmon to withdraw this week, and they haven't yet. But I really did expect that.
I would say, especially with Xander. I mean, that has to take an emotional toll on you. I mean, Harmon was right there. Don't get me wrong; he was right there, but he was never going to win that tournament. Like it never got to that point. Xander, I mean, had it locked up pretty much, and then kind of did what he always does and kind of choked it away a little bit. So I was surprised he hasn't withdrew, and I wouldn't be shocked if he does before the tournament starts.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is only Tuesday afternoon. I will ask. We brought this up last week, and I wanted to get your opinion after watching the event. And I think to me, it solidified my opinion that it is no longer the 5th major. Not having Brooks there, not having Rahm there, really did for the diehard golf fan that I am. It did feel just like an elevated event and not a major event. And to me, there is still an extreme distinction between elevated and major because major, Rahm would have been there, Koepka would have been there. I still feel that there is that. I don't know. I felt like it had a little bit less. I know Sunday afternoon, the final 9, there was a lot of drama and excitement, but whole tournament wise, it wasn't the typical Players Championship in my opinion.
I have mixed feelings because I agree with you on one hand, but on the same time, I feel like that was the best tournament we've seen all year. I mean, you had pretty much a dream scenario of, Clark's there. He's one of the better golfers in the world. Scottie's there. Harmon's there. I mean, Xander. Like you had really good golfers.
Major winners in contention.
Yeah, at the top of the leaderboard, and Xander, who's been there so many times. It was by far the best, and that kind of made me sad in a little way because I was kind of thinking about that after the fact. Is like that's probably as good as it's going to get in terms of a PGA Tour event. Majors are different, obviously, but that's probably as good as it's going to get this year.
That's true. That's very true. Like I said on X, weaker fields lead to toss-up tournament winners. Yeah, I mean, at least it was an elite enough field where we didn't have 120-1 or something like that winning the event. I guess Wyndham Clark. At what point? I mean, he was 50-1 to win the event. That's what you got him on a ticket for. At what point is Wyndham Clark? We talked about it a few weeks ago that Will Zalatoris isn't going to be in that range very often, and you saw his number, get more reflective of his skill set. At some point, you've got to start talking about Wyndham Clark in the elite events, being in 10K and above, and being in that 20-1 or less or smaller number, right?
Yeah.
Like you've got to think that the U.S. Open or the Masters, Wyndham Clark can't be 30 or 40 or 50 to 1. He's got to be maximum 20 to 1 if you want to put respect on his name.
That's a good point too, and I think with DraftKings pricing too. I mean, for sure with the betting board, but like, I mean, I literally bet him last week just because I couldn't believe he was 50 to 1. I'm like, how are we putting a guy that's won 2 elevated events and 1 major in the past year at 50 to 1? That seems insane. And I mean,
it's actually a really smart theory and way to go about it.
DraftKings too. It's like, how do you put? I think Cantlay was ahead of him. Xander was ahead of him. Hovland was ahead of him. It's like, how do you put those guys, especially Xander? Xander was way ahead of him. It's like, how do you put him that much higher than him on the DraftKings board when push comes to shove? Who do you think is more likely to win a tournament, Xander or Clark? Definitely Clark.
I can't
so
log into DraftKings Sportsbook on this laptop for some reason, or I would look at his number for the odds. If anybody's watching wants to see if what what Windy is for the Masters or U.S. Open, let me know. But there's got to be a point where that number has to change. It really does. In fact, I want to see the next major, the Masters, which is 2 weeks away. I just got the email that the Masters app's up and running. I get that email every year about this time, and it just gets me so excited. I would hope to see Wyndham Clark in the top 5 priced and odd guys. No,
he's not. No, he's 28 to 1 right now on DraftKings for the Masters.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the Masters you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Okay, but
I mean, the Masters is not necessarily the perfect fit for him.
No, it's not.
But on the flip side, you said it now, 2 elevated events and a major champion in the last 9 months. That still, to me, feels a little disrespectful.
It seems there's a few names that I feel, the same way about. Like, Oberg is awesome. We agree, right? He's a stud in the making, but he's 22 to 1. Like, he's better.
That doesn't make sense to me.
What
has he won to deserve that stud, title?
Right, exactly. I mean, even Xander. Why is Xander ahead of Clark? That's insane to me.
I mean, he's got 13 runner-up finishes. Yeah. And I mean, I know he won the Olympics, but, I mean, which major event has Xander really won?
Even Decky's ahead of him, which Decky's been playing good, and he's
Decky's been very, very red hot. He's actually taken a bigger jump in the standings than him. Hold on, Xander. I want to just pull up Xander, which events he's won in his career.
Won East Lake,
the Scottish Open in 22, the Travelers, Tournament of Champions, which whatever. HSBC, that was an October event. Tour Championship, Greenbrier. They were his wins. He hasn't won since 2022, Xander. So I think it's kind of disrespectful, quite frankly. I really do.
Yeah, I think he's disrespected for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get to this week. We got the Valspar Championship, Copperhead Course, Innisbrook Resort. I always want to call it Innisbrook because there's a course right down the street from me called Innisbrook. Hold on. Field will be very way stronger at the Masters. I expect the live guy to win. Oh, don't you worry. I can't wait to crack out my green jacket right here. Ready to go. Stewie, I wear a green jacket on this show every Masters week. In fact, I'll probably wear it the entire week of trending in the AM as well. It will be a strong field. And I could see Rahm. I could see one of those guys winning. Oh, he's already got DeChambeau. I missed Bryson a couple of weeks ago at the API because I love him trying to drive that par 5s. I could see Neiman winning it. I could see Rahm or Brooks winning it for sure. I'll be rooting for Rory, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it in a
Bryson
few weeks,
is 40 to 1 right now for the Masters.
It's not a bad. I don't know how he's been doing on Live this year though, so I haven't really paid too close attention to Live yet this year.
I just bet it,
but I will start looking into it because whether I watch Live or not, I don't want to miss out on a winner. You know what I mean? So if they're playing in a PGA event, I've got to know my stuff.
The one good thing about Live too is that it makes the majors even cooler. Like it really does. Like them coming back and like the stakes for each other, like it makes it even more fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a good way to put something positive on Live. It's kind of, I can definitely see that. I like that. I think it's a very fair comparison.
We've been saying it for a couple of years now, like probably even more than a couple, probably like 5 years. Like golf lacks the villain. Like we had a little bit of it, Brooks and Bryson, a little bit for a while, but like it doesn't have the villain, and it gets better when it has the villain. Any sport's better when it has the villain.
I mean, back in prime Tiger days, the Tiger versus Mickelson.
Yeah,
Tiger was kind of the villain at that point.
Right, you either like Tiger or you like Phil. You hated the other one.
Yeah,
like
Exactly. I mean, you definitely need the villain, and Liv is the villain,
Yep.
for sure. He also got Bryson at 40-1 early. That's good. That's a good number for Bryson, a former major champion. Valspar, Copperhead. This is one of those weeks where there's a lot of importance at this course, but it is big time, big time course history. Big time. If you've had success here before, it helps. And approach, iron play. To me, the guys that hit their irons the best are guys that succeed here, and have years on end. I was listening to Rick Run Good earlier, and he said 53% of second shots come from 175 or
Yep.
longer with those irons.
Yep.
So you're really looking at dialed in guys, obviously around the greens, important scrambling and whatnot. But there's a reason why Sam Burns and Paul Casey in the last 5 or 6 years have both won back-to-back times at this event. And I honestly, before I started doing my research, I totally forgot about Paul Casey.
You know, it's
Totally
funny.
forgot about
I
him
was just
because
about to
he's not
say
one of
that.
the live guys I'm thinking about ever.
I
But
was just about to
yeah,
say that, and somebody else said that. I think the Fantasy Golf Degenerates might have said that too. It's like I kind of forgot about Paul Casey. Like for a dude I used to
totally
always
forgot
watch.
who he was. Rory is Stewie's villain, talking out of both sides of his mouth. I
I
kind of
don't.
felt for Rory in that first episode of season 2 of
I
Full
don't
Swing.
think Rory knows what to do, and I think that's the problem. Is he
Don't.
keeps talking, and I don't think he knows which way he's. You know what I mean?
I
Like he
almost
doesn't know
feel
what
like
to do.
Rory. We always talk about golfers, like, well, this golfer's played 4 weeks in a row. Is he tired? Does he need a break or whatnot? I almost feel like Rory just needs to take a personal break
Well,
from
I think
golf.
that's why he moved out of the U.S. I think that's part of it. Like
Yeah,
he needs to just
maybe.
get away
But
from a
maybe
little
he
bit.
just needs to go away for
Okay,
not just a week or 2. I'm talking about play in the 4 majors, and then as soon as that 4th major is over, just go. Just take the rest of the fall out. Don't come back till the like, take good 6 months and just get away from golf. Because Rory making a charge to win his green jacket and complete his grand slam would be good, villain-wise or not, for the game of golf. Him getting back to some form of elite Rory form, because he's still the third ranked golfer in the world. He's still a really good golfer. Getting him back to Rory form would be good for the game.
question for you and for Stewie actually too. If Liv came out right now and offered him the same contract that they offered Rom or ballpark, does he go?
Like right now, see,
Yeah,
I'm confused at what's going on with the remerger of the 2
no,
tours.
nothing. I
Like,
don't
if
think.
that wasn't even remotely on the table, then yes, he 100% takes it now. I think he does. Once Rom left, I think it opened the door for everyone else because Rom was one of those guys that was staunch, just staying
Right.
firm. I am staying on the PGA Tour. It was him. It was Rory. Rory was taking up more of the leadership role of it. Rom was taking up the best golfer in the world role in it. I think if they offered him $100 million, $200 million right now, I think he probably takes it at this point because it almost to an extent would give him that break that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think it'd have to go higher than that. I think it'd have to go like between 300 and 400.
We're not going to get into politics. I made one political tweet yesterday, and my account all went like this into temporary suspension mode. One political tweet, and it wasn't even a mean tweet, and it didn't favor one side or the other. And I've never made a political tweet, so Twitter thought I turned into a bot and put me on timeout mode for 24 hours. So we're not talking politics. I'll never do it again. Stewie thinks he's going to live. I mean, I think at some point, I don't know the finer points of this eventual remerger. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know
I
what
don't
it
think anybody
really
does.
means. But yeah, I think it happens
But
possibly.
I think you saw Rom pretty much say, like I'm going, but we'll be back soon. I think that's why he went, and it's like eating him up. Not he said he came out and said like not being at Waste Management sucked for him.
It's
So
true.
like he wants
It's
to make
true.
these events.
I just think that golf needs to get back to the point or get to a point. I remember watching a movie. I forget what it was, but like there was no one tour. Like all the tours should just be fine, working together, doing their own thing, and there should be no worry about whether you're playing on the Live Tour, the PGA Tour, the DP Tour, the Asian World Tour, the corn. Like play wherever you want. You know what I mean? Let them do what they want. They are all independent contractors anyway. You know what I mean? And let's just keep the 4 majors, 5 majors, if you want to count the players, as elite as they can be, because I want to see Rom still. I still want to see these guys. I don't want my money going to the PIF, but I still want to watch elite golf.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Rahm.
And honestly,
Bryson,
as the
Brooks.
bots tell me, those salties, they got their hands in everything else I do on a daily basis between gas and everything else. So, I shouldn't be so upset about them.
Exactly.
So anyway, let's look at this week's field. The Valspar field, it's better than it normally is. Okay, in my opinion, we got 15 top 40 world ranked golfers in the field this week. There is no whatchamacallit, the event that they canceled. That's
Which
the
one?
the bracket week.
Oh, match play.
Match play. Yeah, sorry. Match play is gone. This was normally the week people took off to start their Masters prep, took this week off, and then played match play, and then went to the Masters. So this week we have a little bit more of an elite field, starting off with Xander. And I got to say, like, I normally try to keep my player pool right around that 20, 22 names. Went a little higher last week. I'm shocked at DraftKings how they left the 5K guys in this week without anybody going to 12K or even upper 11K on the price range. I'm not in love with a lot of the price points of a lot of these golfers.
No, I'm not either. But I think the one thing about the 5K this week is that it's disgusting. So
absolutely.
That's a great
I actually have 3 names in the 5K that one name I like, 2 names I'm kind of actually semi considering. But
that point that Steve just said too was a great point. I think the last week that's what made the tournament so good. The TV coverage was limited commercials. That was great. Just in general, it just was better.
But honestly, I won't lie. I don't pay. Maybe if you pay for ESPN Plus, I don't pay for ESPN Plus.
No, I don't.
Okay. So I think it was Saturday. There was 0 TV coverage on Peacock Golf Channel or NBC till 2:00.
Yeah.
There was plenty of golf being played on Saturday, but you couldn't watch any of it till 2:00. And to me, that kind of the timing of it, they need more longer coverage. You know what I mean? On the Golf Channel, on Peacock, on NBC or CBS, wherever it is. I think that the coverage itself, once it was on the air, was great. But I think for an event called the Players Championship, the unofficial 5th major, I think the time coverage of it needed to be bigger.
Yeah, I can see that.
That would be my only knock on the coverage.
Definitely better though.
Definitely better. All right, top of the leaderboard this week. You got Xander at 11-2. Sam Burns 10-9's won this event obviously a lot of times. JT 10-4. Jordan Spieth 10-2. Are you playing any of these guys? Are you worried about the hangover for Xander? Thoughts on this upper range here?
This range is really tough, I feel like. I don't know 100% what I'm going to do. My first inkling was to go to JT here because of the price point. I feel like I don't know. I don't think I can play Xander this week. Burns' course history is obviously, you can't deny that. But on the flip side of that, Burns hasn't been all that great the past few weeks. I mean, he had an okay finish last week. What did he? 45th last week, 30th to Arnold Palmer. Like, been good. Not great. Obviously, his course history is elite. I think they're all going to be about 20% owned, so you're going to have a choice to make for sure.
Well, I'm going to make the choice and go the complete opposite. And I'm thinking that I have Burns written down on my potential player pool just because of the course history. But I'm looking at Jordan Spieth, who is a former champion at this event. I know he hasn't been elite Jordan Spieth, and this field is deeper than it's been in past. But Jordan Spieth in this field should still be one of the favorites. And he's still like I checked the ownership like yesterday afternoon, and then this morning, then again this afternoon, and again now. And I keep waiting for that ownership percentage of his to start creeping up, and he's still under 10%.
He's in a weird spot. It's like people are either going to pick someone above him or they're going to start in the 9K. So it's within that weird.
So, I mean, what are the odds that Jordan Spieth misses the cut here? You got to think it's very slim, right?
It's a tough course, man. I don't know.
It is a tough course, and the weather's there. And he missed the cut last week. But why did he miss the cut last week? He was terrible on approach, which I know you need to do well here. But normally he's not bad on approach. Normally he's very solid off the tee. Normally he's very good tee to green. I want to pull up Valspar on him right now, real quick. Valspar, a third, a missed cut, an 18th, a first, and a 20th. So he's got 4 top 20s with a win, and then 1 missed cut all the way back in 2018. He knows this course really, really well. And if you're going to go Sam Burns, who knows this course really well, at 20%, or Jordan Spieth, who knows this course really well at 10%, I'm talking myself into the lesser golfer at the moment because I hate ownership percentage, but that ownership percentage to me, I'm feeling a week where I might go fairly heavy on a guy like Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, I don't mind the Spieth call either. I definitely don't.
Right after that, you got Brian Harman, another guy coming off that hangover from last week. The Players, this 9K. I actually only have 3 names written down from 9K above on my potential player pool: Spieth, Burns, and one other in this 9K range. I know a lot of people are talking about Cam Young. I just can't get behind Cam Young. What are your thoughts on Cam Young this week?
I know. I saw the same thing. Everybody's talking about Cam Young too, and I know he plays well on harder courses, but like he hasn't been very good either. I mean,
He still has never won an event.
Yeah, I mean, 54th last week, 36th the week before. Like that's obviously okay, but like for a dude that's never won, like you said, he's almost $10,000. It's like
and he's never played this event before either.
Yeah, right.
Like he has never played this event before. An event that you need strong course history at.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a weird one, and especially if his ownership gets up. I think it was 14 last time I looked, but if that ownership gets up,
I just refreshed my screen.
Yeah,
14. Like 14.8 is not bad for a player like Cam Young, but everyone just keeps talking about him.
What about Harman?
I know I saw that you said fading Spieth this week on your Twitter page, and I'm like, that's the guy I'm going to lead off with today as my top guy. I knew that would be an interesting one.
What about Harman? What are your thoughts on him? He's been awesome.
I feel like if you're fading Xander because of the end of that event, you have to at least consider it with Harman. Harman wasn't on my player pool. So
the only thing about that I would argue is that there's a big difference in price. I mean, Xander's 11.2, Harman's 9.8. That's a huge difference in price.
He hasn't missed a cut since the Memorial in June of last year. He's obviously great. He did miss the cut here last year. So his last 3 times at this, nope, that's the Valero. I got to fully spell out.
Yeah, his last 3 times were cut, T5 cut here.
Yeah. So he's actually missed the cut here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the last 6 times he's played this event. Brian Harman has missed the cut here. That's not good to me.
No.
To me, that solidifies
especially at 17% ownership.
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely a fade. I like the other Young too. Carson might be in my player pool. I do like Carson a lot on events when he plays. So that's a smart one. I'm looking at Tony Finau in this range. And I know it's another, like, to me, I'm never an ownership guy. I'm never going against the grain type of guy. I feel like I just want to build Jordan Spieth and Tony Finau lineups all week long.
I was surprised that Finau was 15% owned. I thought he'd be lower.
Yeah, I mean, he has creeped up. He has creeped up. He was at around 12 yesterday, late in the day yesterday, but so he has creeped up a little bit there.
I do like him way more than anybody else in that range, though. Nick Taylor, he's been really good, but I just wonder when the wheels are going to fall off that one. Minwoo's kind of been there. Yeah. Mitchell's been okay. Sungjae Im is interesting to me this week.
Okay.
Starting to play a little better. Pretty good course history here. Like, it just seems like at some point he's going to get back to the old Sungjae again.
He's got to, right?
I don't know what his deal is.
I don't understand how Sungjae has fallen into the type of golfer he is. Let me pull up his player profile real quick. 31st last week, 18th missed cut. 40. He's only got one top 20 since it's not. I can't count the Century because it's such a limited field. The Century, TOC, but he's only got one top 20 this entire season. He's only got 2 missed cuts, but like his approach game this year, he has only gained strokes.
I was just about
once on approach all year long.
Lost strokes.
That's not good.
That used to be his strength, his iron game, and he's lost on approach 6 of his last 7. Yeah. That's a lot. That's insane.
That's not good. Finau, my pick to win this week. Can he get it done?
I like Finau.
I would love to see it. Love to see it because I have a feeling there's a chance that Finau might end up being my top clicked guy this week.
He's another guy too that's like at some point he's going to kind of round back into form, and this kind of seems like the Finau's kind of the time of the year.
Absolutely agree with you. Let me close out Sungjae Im. All right, into this 8K range. Keith Mitchell, a guy that I had a lot of hype in last week. He made the cut, but whatever. 4K one, I will say it. Christian Bazunu in this range, who I do like actually a lot this week. Eric Cole seems to be slowing down. You tried to convince me not to play Doug Gim last week.
I know.
Don't play chalky Doug Gim. I did put him a little bit less than I wanted to, but you did temper me down a little bit on him last week. Let me see.
What did you have?
I only had him in 5 lineups last week.
11th?
What?
Something like that. What did he finish? 11th? Something like that,
In the
right?
top 15 because he hasn't
16.
finished outside the top 15 in like 16 years now. I know
16
Doug
years.
Gim's going to be chalky this week, but my first bet to win this week was Doug Gim at 40-1.
Doug Gim, 21% owned right now.
I know. He was projected at 18% last week, and you're like, oh, stay away from him.
I'm gonna say
I went under on my
on
projections, and I kicked myself in the ass for not clicking his name a few more times last week.
I'm dying on that hill. I can tell you that right now. I will never.
Well, he's going to be chalky again this week in a weak field, and a guy that, like I said, let me pull up his player profile again just so I can repeat how great Doug Gim has been. Doug Gim is not a great golfer. Let me repeat that. He's not, but he's going 16, 16, 8, 12, 13 in his last 5 events.
The craziest thing too,
8, 12, 13.
In all kinds of fields and all kinds of events, like not just the same kinds of, you know what I mean, like hard events, easy events, like, or easy courses.
I mean, the wheels are going to fall off on Doug Gim at some point. It might be this week, but you know what? I'm going to stay locked in on Doug Gim until the wheels fall off. I kind of feel like it's just the hot hand, you know, kind of thing. You know, you go with the hot hand, the hot at bat, you give it to the hot shooter, you know, whatever it may be. Doug Gim's hot right now. And I kind of feel like you just kind of got to roll with him, especially, honestly, I'll say this, in the 8K through Xander all the way at the top, there's not a lot of great plays. No. There's not a lot of sure things. 5 straight top 16s, that's pretty sure thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. What about Cole? Are you off Cole? You don't like Cole, but
I'm indifferent on Cole. I kind of feel like his star is kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know you're a big Cole fan.
I do.
But
like
I mean,
Cole.
hold on. Let me pull up his player profile here again and check him out a little bit more.
Boomer bust.
Miscut his players. 21st at API. Yeah. He's missed 2 of his last 3 cuts.
Right. And the other one's top 21s. Like, I mean, it's either boom or bust.
And his last, and then even go back to Waste Management, he was 49th. Miscut the Farmers. I don't know. I kind of feel like his stretch at the end of last year to the beginning of this year, kind of feel like it's turned off. And he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's played 7 of the last, no, 8, not 9 of the last 10 weeks. He's only taken off 1 week this entire year. Kind of feel like the Cole thing's I'm off. He's not anywhere on my list. I've only got 3 8K names written down here. Gim, Bazudenhout, and I'm not in love with them, but for some reason I kind of feel like, again, just like Doug Gim, the wheels are turning on Mav McNeely. You kind of got to play him right now till the wheels fall. He might not win Mav McNeely, but 8,100 in his ownership, if he finishes really top 10, you're getting a value there.
He's been really good. I'm playing McNeely for sure.
Yeah. Got plenty of Gim. You got to play Gim.
You guys love Gim.
Jason is insane. A guy that's got 5 straight top 16s. Nope. Don't want him. Don't want him anywhere in my lineups.
I actually checked him. I actually checked Gim and then saw that he was 21%. And I went, nope.
You know, sometimes you just I was looking at, somebody shared a lineup and I forget which event they were in, and the first place was like $10,000 for it. So I don't know what 20 max that puts them in. But, you know, ownership, we all talk about ownership, and I sat there and I counted. You know, we used to talk about last year, like having a combined ownership, you know, of a certain number, trying to keep your combined ownership under a certain number. And this guy won an event, won a GPP for $10,000, and his combined ownership, do you know what it was?
130.
It was over 100%. I don't remember I didn't write it down. It literally was like 112 or 120% or something like that. So it goes to show you could still win a GPP if you have a big number.
So you're saying just play good players?
Just play the best players. I mean, it's that simple. Why do we talk ourselves out of the best players?
Right. It's a good point.
I don't know. I think far too often we all talk ourselves out of things like that. Yeah, play the best players. All right, do you have anybody else in this 8K range you like?
No, Mav was my other one at the bottom.
Yeah, Mav's a good play, I think, this week. Hadwin, Hostler, Keegan. Maybe it's a good fit for him. I don't know. I think where you're going to win, you've got, hell, even in the 7K, I don't have a lot of names written down. I actually have so few names written down this week. So into the 7K, I'll just let you, before I even give any names, I'll just let you start going. Names in the 7K that you may or may not like.
Sepp is my favorite. tough course guy.
Yep.
Love him on tough courses. Underrated player, I think, in general. Kind of rounding back into his old form again. So I like him a lot. Taylor Moore won this event last year. He's been pretty good. Not great, but pretty good lately. So I think he's definitely going to get clicked. I thought both those guys would be higher owned than they are at the moment right now. Those are definitely my favorite. Taylor Montgomery at 75 is the other one that piqued my interest a little bit.
All right, I'm going to go with I'm going to give you one name here, 7,600. Thorbjorn Olesen. I know he missed the cut at the Cognizant. He had an okay finish at the Mexican Open, but on the DP World Tour, I think I talked about him. Mexico Open week. You know, he's got a first, a 21st, a eighth. I mean, he was literally dominating the DP World Tour before he came over here. I kind of like him, and he's only at 3% projections right now because nobody knows these DP World Tour guys. That's where you go and you play a 20% Burns or 20% Doug Gim, and then you pair it with an Olesen who's at 3%. That's got a really high chance of making the cut. That's where you differentiate yourself, in my opinion, for something.
Agreed.
Get different elsewhere. You have 6 spots. Pick the best golfers, then try to find. Yeah, so that 3% just went up to 5% because me and Stewie are loading up on Olsen in our pools this week.
You and Stewie are always in cahoots over here.
Yeah, I mean, it might be my burner account. Stewie might not be a real person. It might just be my burner account that I'm commenting on the side with and everything, just to make myself look smarter.
Yeah.
No, you don't buy that. Anybody else in this range you like?
What?
You like anybody else in this range?
And Stewie has a better beard for sure.
Well, my beard's missing now. Okay, so you can't say that.
I got thrown off. I don't even know what you said.
We're talking about the 7K range here. All right, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah,
Daniel Berger hasn't played. Didn't play last week. Kind of felt after the waste management he might be rounding into form. Then he missed the cut at the Cognizant. And I'm cognizant that he missed the cut there. But his approach and tee to green game has gotten better. And started to improve. There's an approach place. This seems to me like a type of course that he should be, when he's healthy, really good at. And he has an 11th pace finish here a long time ago. Hasn't played this event since 2017 when he missed the cut. You think Daniel Berger, this is a week to maybe take a stab at him or no?
Not for me. Not at 11% owned.
No. He's real.
Honest. No, not at 11% owned. I haven't seen
it. Sounds like something I would say to throw everybody off.
I don't like to be early on guys like him.
Right.
Like guys that are coming back from injury. Even Zalatoris, like I wanted to see it a little bit before I started believing in it. Like I just don't want to be early on that. I mean, I do, but I'm not going to be early on it, I should say.
Yeah, definitely makes sense to me as well. All right, well, let's rapid fire through the 6K range. I don't have any idea who this guy is. I only found out about him thanks to one Mr. Rick Run Good. But I have to pull up his name so I get his first name right too. Jimmy Stanger. There's my name in this upper 6K range. 35th last week, 3rd at the Puerto Rico. He hasn't actually missed a cut since the Farmers. Jimmy Stanger at 6,900.
I've heard a lot of people talk about him. I don't know that much about him to make a comment, I don't think. But
I just needed a guy in the upper 6K so to make 4%. Me not sound stupid when I say I want to play Joel Damon this week. So
4% owned too for Stanger. So I don't mind that. I mean, just seeing what people are saying about him. I have a couple that are in this range that I like.
I know one of the names you're going to like because he's in my player pool.
Who's that? You tell me.
No. I want to hear your name.
Victor Perez, 100%. Greens in regulation, good drives. I like him in all those opportunities gained. Better than his price point, I think. Mackenzie Hughes, I love him on tough courses always. Good on par fives, really good around the greens. Number 1 in the field and around the greens. And then my third one is Matthew Neesmith.
That wasn't the one. I mean, Neesmith is the only one you named that's in my list. I thought you were going to say you're all about Mr. Seamus.
Well, I like Seamus. He kind of.
I think this is a good week for him this week.
He's been better. He's been a lot.
He has been better. He's one of those guys. He's got his game. It's not going to last long. It never lasts long with Power, Seamus Power, but he's playing good. He hasn't missed a cut since the Farmers.
He's more of an easy course guy for me than tough course.
Made the cut. The Players made the cut at the everybody made the cut at the API almost. Made the cut at the Genesis. Made the cut at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Just saying. There's some tough courses, and he's made some cuts at them.
Famous Seamus.
All So I got power. I got Neesmith. I love Neesmith this week. What's that?
He's from Tampa?
I guess so. Home course. Yeah, home course in Tampa there. There we go. Any 5K names you like this week?
No. You?
I'm going to give you 3 names. I got to make sure I don't know these guys really well. This is through my deep dive research here. Ricky Castillo hasn't played on the PGA Tour since the U.S. Open like 3 or 4 years ago. But his last 6 starts playing golf, T5, T13, 7, T5, T20, all on the Korn Ferry Tour. But 5,900, and he's playing fantastic golf. I'm on Castillo. Never heard of the guy, but he's now on my board and he's now on my radar.
Never heard of the guy. I'm playing 2
Never
guys
heard of the guy. I have no idea anything about the guy. Echeverria. I was on him last week. It was the wrong week. This week might be it for him. A weaker field. And this guy is just straight to, and I don't even know if I'm going to play this guy. I have no clue if I'm going to play this guy because he has missed 5 of his last 6 cuts. Okay. This guy. But I just want to make sure I got this right. He has played this event 5 times, made the cut all 5 times, has an 11th place finish here in 2021. He's just a terrible golfer. And I just wanted to say I have a name to mention that is a flat 5,000. Snedeker.
Sneds. What's Sneds been doing lately?
Missed 5 of his last 6 cuts. That's what he's been doing. He's a terrible golfer. But for some reason, I kind of feel like for a guy of his previous success, a flat 5K, it's not like he's 66 years old, just playing the Masters because, he's grandfathered in. Like, he's a guy.
When's the last time
he's
he
just
made
a jag? He's just a guy. But
you know what? He's missed 3 cuts in a row, 78th before that, and missed 2 before that. You can go ahead and play him.
I'm not saying I'm playing him. I'm just saying that there is a theory. If you look at his course history, he loves this course.
The first time I ever won a decent amount of money on DraftKings, I had Sneds in my lineup, so he always holds a spot for me.
Yeah.
Him and Stewie Sink.
Come on, you could build a lineup with Xander, Burns, and Spieth, and then put Sneds in it at 5K and still find a way to. Hold on, I want to test this out. I'm going to put Xander, Burns, and Spieth in a lineup, and then you go Sneds at 5K. You know what you got for your last 2 spots?
Kids is
350 still. No,
you could play Tyson Alexander, who's a better play at 5,100.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But that would only leave me with 6,200 left in my, instead of 63. So I know I'm crazy. I did not say I'm putting. This might be the first week in a long time I have a sub 18 person player pool because there's about 6 names I really like that I'm just going to load up on different combinations for. All right, let's do some stuff. Who won last week?
You did. You pulled out the 5-point victory.
5-point victory is a half a point victory is still a victory,
don't forget
right?
The sponsors. Don't forget the sponsor.
Yeah, I'm going to. So we are now. What's the record now?
Phil 3, Jason. I'm sorry, Phil 4, Jason 3. Guess 1.
All right. So we build lineups here on this show. Brought to you by Fantasy Golf Pod. Chad and the crew going live every single Wednesday, 4:20. Cracking beers and talking golf. Make sure you check them out. Fantasy Golf Pods. Of course, also always check out Fantasy National, fantasynational.com. And if you like their model making tools and you sign up, make sure you let them know you heard about them right here on Fairway to Heaven. So we're going to build a lineup back and forth. No duplicates whatsoever. So I get to go first or you get to go first? I'm sorry.
You won, so I get to go first.
All right, so go for it.
I'm going with Mr. Course Horse himself, Sam Burns.
Burns, that's perfect. Because I'm going to go right below him with Jordan Spieth. We're going to stick to this.
Wow.
I have not run a test build yet, so I have no idea how this is going to play out.
I haven't either. All right, you're going Spieth. All right, I'm going to go with – give me a second here. I'm going Adam Schenk.
That's it. Did not mention his name once.
Did not mention him. Second here last year, 18th, a few years ago.
Well, I'm going to go Jordan Spieth. I already did Jordan Spieth. Tony Finau.
Really
I just want to see how this is going to play out for me when I'm building it. If I go with my 2 top favorite guys, Spieth and Finau, still leaves me 7,600, which is plenty of room, honestly, at this point.
Sorry. All right, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go Sam Ryder.
Sam Ryder. I love I love Sam Ryder, right? What's he
Yeah,
like 7 something?
73.
Yeah, I just couldn't. Ryder's my guy when he's 6K. 6,500. In the 7K Sam Ryder, I can't get behind that. I don't know. It just there was a little sticker shock with him right there. All right, so you got Burns, Shank, and Ryder so far. I got Jordan Spieth, Tony Finau, and we are going to go with one of those random names I brought up. We are going to go with Stanger,
Stanger.
6,900.
All right, I am gonna go with
I
one of my
got a
favorites.
completely random thing. I'm either going to lose everything or I'm going to win GPPs this week. With
I'm
some of
going.
these names that I'm choosing, it's going to be boom or bust this week.
I'm going Straka.
Sepp Straka. That is a good name this week. I do like Sepp Straka this week. That will be a duplicate somewhere for us. All right, so after 3 names, I'm at 7,800. I'm going to go Olesen because I do like Olesen this week. Right, so that's 4 names, and that still leaves me with 8K. Now I can start getting really crazy.
All right, I'm gonna go Taylor Moore.
Taylor
7,800.
Moore going for the defending champion.
Mhm.
Is Taylor Moore good enough to be a defending champion? Like Sam Burns, 2-time champion.
Taylor Moore.
He's a certain level of golfer. Paul Casey back in the day was a certain level golfer. Is Taylor Moore a guy that can actually repeat at this event?
Taylor Moore better than you think. That's what I would say.
Okay. All right.
Not great.
All right. So I got 8K here. All right, we're gonna drop. I gotta test this. What would this leave me with if I pick this guy? Really leave me with enough. Oh man, that's kind of in a really sticky spot I've left myself. So this is the problem. I've put myself in the spot. If I pick a guy in the mid 6s right now, it leaves me with not enough to do anything. That's really scary. All right, we're gonna just go chalk here, and we'll go Doug Gim.
All right, I'm gonna go my man Seabass.
Zunu.
Yep.
I know it's not how you say his name, but
think
I
it's
will
pretty
say his
close.
name like that for the rest of my life, just so you know.
Pretty close. So that leaves me with
Oh, I
200.
know it's close, but it's just far off enough. So Bazoo Newt for you, I do like that. All right, so I got 7,600 left with my last pick. What did that leave on the table for you, by the way?
200.
So Burns, Shank, Ryder, Straka, Moore, and Bazoo Newt.
Yep.
I'm at Spieth, Finau, Stanger, Olesen, Gim. Do I go Lucas Glover or Daniel Berger here with my last pick? You know what? We're going to take that chance for the GPP win, and we're going to go Daniel Berger right there.
Oh, Berger. Wow.
Yeah, we went for the double burger right there. I'm just gonna mix it up. Have a little fun this week.
Double burger.
Why not? I haven't won jack crap all year long, so I might as well get a little crazy this week. Maybe getting a little crazy will change my luck this week.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. So where are you at with your one and dones now? I had Keith Mitchell last week. Who did you have?
I had Lowry. Keith Mitchell finished DFL pretty much for you. Out of the guys that made the cut,
but he made money, didn't he? He made the cut, didn't he?
He made $49,000.
Yeah. He made money.
I had Shane Lowry finished 19th, so he made I think it was $238,000. So
you
are
some
at
of that $500 million of debt you're behind in it.
You are at no. Well, maybe close. You're at 1.5 mil, just over 1.5 mil. I am at just over 1.1, so I'm about 400,000 behind.
Got a 400,000 gap. What is up, the gobbler, Patty Bernard? How you doing this evening, my man? All right, so you can go first on the one.
No, you go first because you're leading, so you go first.
Okay, all right. I haven't really decided. I made 3 bets this week. Gim, Burke. Well, you know what? No, I know. I'm going Gim as my one and done. Doug Gim. 40-1. My first bet I made this week. He's going to be in a lot of lineups. What did I say earlier when we talked Doug Gim? I said the wheels are going to fall off. I might as well keep riding him till the wheels happen. I don't need to save Doug Gim for a major. I don't need to save Doug Gim for August. By August, he might not even be making cuts anymore. Let's maximize Doug Gim's top 20 potential right now while there still is that.
You love Doug Gim the way I love Stuart Sink and Sepp Straka. It's just Just unfounded love right there.
5
I'm gonna
straight top 15s or 16s. It's not like
I'm
I'm pulling a guy that's missed 7. It's
right.
not like
No, no.
I'm not picking Snedeker here, you know what I mean?
No, I know.
I'm picking a guy.
You almost did. I'm gonna go. I'm not getting cute. I'm going Burns.
Burns? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's somebody doing a one and done trying to win.
Listen,
Trying to pass
this
me.
is somebody that sucks at one and done. So
It's a good thing we don't do one. Like it's not like
no.
I'm putting a $500 buy-in to the Rick Run Good 3 and done or anything.
I know where I stand. I'm not good at one and done. I know.
You know where you stand. So
Yep.
where do you stand as we wrap up the talk on the Valspar Championship? By the way, did you make any? I know you had a lot of bets last week, and I know you came really close with win.
Since I'm a betting expert now, I do.
I mean, you are a bet finishing your outrights finishing in second place makes you an expert.
I know. This is weird. Just shows how hard golf betting really is.
It really is. I have not hit an outright since the Tour Championship last year with Victor Hoff. That's how bad it is.
I bet Justin Thomas so far, and I bet Jordan Spieth. So their odds were – hold on, what were their odds? Sorry, I'm pulling it up right now. So I bet Justin Thomas at 14 and Spieth at 18. I don't love either one of those, to be honest with you. I don't feel great about either one.
I like the Spieth one because I do think Spieth can contend this week. I just don't know about winning. I went, gag me with Doug Gim as an outright. Then I went double gag me with Daniel Berger as an outright. Then I went triple gag me with Joel Damon at 90-1 as an outright.
Okay.
Literally all over the place. I only made 3 outrights, and I love to make 5 to 7 of them at a time. I made 3 outright bets because I used a portion of my outright money this week on March Madness in the NCAA tournament.
I would absolutely love to see Joel Damon win, just for the record.
I mean, yeah. I mean, is there a better would there be a better story than that?
No.
You could do a whole entire season of full swing just on Joel Damon.
He's awesome. Like he really, his personality is so good.
It is. It's a shame he's not a better golfer to match the It's a shame his golf doesn't match the personality.
I love what he said. He said in season 1 when he was like, hey, somebody's got to be the 70th best golfer in the world. He's been horrible since then.
I would love to be the 70th. I would like the 200th best golfer in the world.
Yeah, the problem is he's been awful since then.
Yeah, that's true. So I closed this final segment of the show. I'm not a big March Madness guy anymore. I don't watch a lot of college basketball. I had a great guest on the morning show today, Michael Huffer. Make sure you guys check him out at Michael_Huffer3 on social media. And I asked him, I need a great value bet for somebody to root for. As a guy that hasn't watched any college basketball this year, and I'm going to watch March Madness, obviously, give me a value guy. And he told me Auburn at 17-1 was great value. DraftKings was offering a 64% for the field of 64 profit boost on anything. I used it on that. It got my 17-1 up to 28-1. So I'm riding there. But I did ask him about one specific team.
Sorry.
All right. Ask him who he thinks he's going to win. I asked him about Michigan State. Your team, your alma mater. You're a Spartan. Tom Izzo and March Madness just kind of go together. I mean, you never bet against Tom Izzo. Where is my favorite coach and his team going to go this March Madness? Do they have a chance at winning round 1 as the 9 seed? And do they stand any chance if they do that on beating North Carolina?
Michigan State is really bad. And I love Michigan State. They are
they made the bracket. They're a 9 seed. That's pretty good to be.
You know why they made the tournament? Because Tom Izzo's their coach. That's why they made the tournament. They didn't want to break. They didn't want to be the ones that broke the streak, so they let them in. Mississippi State's not a good matchup for Michigan State. Michigan State struggles against tough teams with a good big, and Mississippi State has a good big man. So I think
they say that answers every Michigan State question right there. No.
Michigan State figures out a way to win, I think, the first round, but then they get smoked by Carolina, I think.
What do you feel about, because this is something I spent a lot of time this morning on the show talking about with Michael, my guest, and then after he left with the viewers on the show, the 7 college teams that decided to decline their NIT bids and offers because they were upset that they didn't get into the main bracket. Do you feel like that's a bad job on the coaches not teaching these kids to, you got a responsibility to play basketball. You didn't get into March Madness, but you're in another tournament. To me, I think it's terrible, and it's terrible that Rick Pitino, who I hate Rick Pitino, he's literally public enemy number 1 in college sports, and he's the one that kind of led this charge to just saying, nah, I don't want to play.
But there's other big names that did too. Like Indiana did the same thing. Like
Memphis, Oklahoma,
yeah, exactly. To me,
I just have an extra big hatred for Rick Pitino. So
it's like going 7-5 or 7-6 in college football and skipping a bowl game. Don't you want another 2-3 weeks with your team to build for next year? I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, the tournament experience is great, but what if you win the NIT? What if you go on a run and you win 5-6 games in a row, and then you can build on it for next season?
There might be some kids on those teams that are seniors. That might be their last chance to play college basketball. They're going to go off and get jobs in the real world.
Well, for the underclassmen, you go in, say you win 3-4 games in the tournament, you're feeling good about yourself going into the offseason, which is when you make the jump. Like I think it's a terrible look, and I can't believe so many teams
terrible.
Did it.
And it really pisses me off, and I think it's a really bad example. You know, I don't know if you know Kai Jones. He was a NBA player.
Yeah,
he just got signed to the Sixers, and he talked about the immaturity he was feeling as a young college top 10 basketball player in the NBA, and that's why he took a little hiatus from the NBA and now it's back with the Sixers. And he basically just showed that he was immature and he didn't grow up enough in college. Well, you're teaching these kids now by saying, "Nah, we don't have to play if we don't want to." You're teaching them a bad life lesson, in my opinion.
but the same people that do that will sit there and bitch about when Caleb Williams doesn't play in a bowl game, or so and so doesn't. Christian McCaffrey back in the day didn't play in a bowl game. It's like
that's always the one I go.
How do you shit on the player when the coach decides like, okay, it's a whole different story. I feel like with the teams, not that it's okay, but like the teams that almost made the tournament, it's like they're upset, they're salty about it, whatever. That's one thing. But like a team like Indiana, they suck. Why wouldn't you want to build your team a little bit more? Mm-hmm. It says a lot about the coach, and I don't think you'd see the elite coaches do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like it's kind of like, it's a life lesson. The kids might have been the ones, man, we're pissed. We don't want to play. Right. That's where the coach steps up and says, no, this is a learning moment for you. You know what I mean? The coach either saying, no, we don't have to play, or saying, if you guys don't want to play, we don't have to. That's kind of just giving the kids an excuse to cry when things don't go their way in life. And everything's not going to go your way in life. Right. I don't know. It's really rubbed me the wrong way. And having 7 teams, I don't know if there's ever been that many teams that declined an NIT invite.
Well, and it just
shocks me it's that many.
This is obviously a topic for a different day, but I feel like it just shows how bad of a state college sports are in right now. I mean,
absolutely agree with you.
You have that. That's exactly what it is. Yep, it's 100% victim mentality. It's college sports as a whole right now are just a nightmare. They like NIL. It was a good thought. They haven't figured it out. The transferring the free agency, like it's terrible for the game. And this is what you're having. You're not building programs anymore. And Nick Saban was on Pat McAfee last week talking about that. He's like, you can't build a program anymore because there's guys like, for example, I'll use Michigan State, obviously where I went to school and what I'm a fan of. Like Draymond Green's freshman year, he barely played. The team went to the Final Four. They went to the national championship game his freshman year. They were loaded. He played 5 minutes a game, but nowadays he would have transferred. He stayed, and he's the all-time leading rebounder at Michigan State. Jersey retired, like NBA player, like it's a
great point. Great way to do it. I just thought I'd get I thought I was going to get your opinion on the tournament, but I think we kind of got into the more deeper side of it. I don't know. It's definitely one of the many reasons why I watch so little college sports. Period. Basketball, football, whatever. I kind of rank it up there. I said it's the second most corrupt sports organization behind the Olympic Committee. But then somebody reminded me this morning that FIFA is right up there too as one of the most corrupt organizations. So it might be the Olympic Committee, FIFA, and then NCAA. But it's just such a terrible thing. And then this kind of stuff that's happening this week with the tournament, it's just kind of icing on the cake of why I don't watch college sports.
You see the coaches complain about it though, and then you see 7 coaches turn down the invite, the NIT. So
drives me nuts. Drives me completely nuts. Anyway, I know you'll be rooting for Michigan. When do they play Michigan State?
Thursday at 12:15. Not ideal.
That's perfect for a guy that owns a pizza shop. That's perfect. I'll have it on at the shop.
For a guy that works a 9 to 5, that is not perfect. 8 to 5.
I mean, it is the week that the least amount of work is done. It's the most unproductive week of work there is for most people. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back next week with another episode of Fairway to Heaven. Make sure you hit the like button, share button, retweet button, wherever you are watching. And make sure you follow us on Twitter. Jason at JSully2121, me at Beard of Knowledge, and of course Fairway to Heaven at Fairway, the number 2 Heaven _ I will be building my lineups tomorrow. Stay tuned for my first 5 to 5. I will continue to do that. Send you pizza. I've not emailed. I have mailed pizza to Ohio State before. My sister-in-law's boyfriend was going there at the time, and he wanted pizza, so I literally got a FedEx box, stuffed the pizza inside of it, and FedExed it to him. And he got it the next day, and it was still pretty good. So don't tempt me, Stewie. I will mail pizza. Everybody will be back next week, 6 o'clock again. For Jason Sullivan, I am Phil Stiefel. We will see you guys next week.